Swadika, thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88, and on NBT World. It's Thursday, February 26th of 2015, and you're with me, Sandrahan Utsaha. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story, the Prime Minister has officially opened the campaign initiated to boost awareness on new laws related to ivory trade. General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, yesterday chaired the official opening of a campaign that was intended to call on the public to abide by all laws related to ivory and its trade. The activity was hosted by the National Park, Wildlife and Plant Conservation Department at the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and was attended by representatives from all relevant agencies amidst tight security. The campaign was not only aimed at educating the public about related laws and what to do when they come into possession of ivory or wish to engage in ivory trade, but also to discourage foreign visitors from buying ivory and merchandise made of it. The National Park, Wildlife and Plant Conservation Department also hopes that this attempt to boost the awareness on the conservation of ivory will help inform the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES, of Thailand's determination and sincerity in battling the smuggling and illegal trade of ivory. The Prime Minister led a merit-making event to give alms to monks at the floating market of the Purung Grung Grasem Canal. The merit-making event took place at the canal near the Makawan Rangsan Bridge to give blessings to the 60th birthday anniversary of Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha led his cabinet members, army chiefs, and Bangkok Governor Mam Ratchawong Sukhum Panboripat in the ceremony. Afterwards, the Premier spoke with the governor on the possibility of expanding transport services along the floating market. A spokesman for the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, or BMA, revealed that the BMA has decided to hold off on expanding services pending developments in the Eurozone's debt negotiations with Greece. Eurozone finance ministers appeared to favor increasing financial aid to Greece for another 4 months. The move came after the nation presented its latest proposal for fiscal reform. Eurozone finance ministers yesterday held a 1-hour teleconference. Eurogroup President Jerion Dijsselbloem chaired the meeting, in which Greece agreed to execute its economic reforms in July. These reforms included measures against tax evasion and illegal trade of fuel and tobacco. The new measures also called for labor reforms and creating more equitable taxation. The 21st round of petroleum concession grants is now expected to take place between September and October this year, according to Energy Minister Narongchai Akraseni. Narongchai Akraseni, the Minister of Energy, indicated on Tuesday his ministry was canceling the current round of applications for petroleum exploration and production, which originally would have lasted until March 16th. The annulment would make way for amendment to the BE 2514 law on petroleum, slated to be completed within 3 months. The amendment is expected to bring changes to existing conditions for production sharing contracts, or PSCs, according to the Energy Minister. The 21st round of petroleum concession grants is now expected to take place between September and October. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Wisnukra Ngam revealed that Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha was satisfied with the findings from the forum on the 21st round of petroleum concession grants. He said the forum proceeded constructively and the arguments presented during the discussions were of enough weight. Therefore, the Ministry of Energy has been assigned the responsibility of analyzing the conclusions that will be yielded from the Joint Committee addressing the concession grants issue. Mr. Wissanut said the government has not imposed a time frame, but it will inform the National Legislative Assembly of the urgent requirement of the new bill that will facilitate the granting of the petroleum concessions. The Ministry of Finance will request approval for an 80 billion baht loan, which will be used to stimulate the economy at the upcoming cabinet meeting. Finance Minister Somai Phasi said the first half of the loan, which was worth 40 billion baht, would be allocated to the Department of Highways and the Department of Rural Roads for the construction and improvement of local roads and tunnels, which would in turn lead to spending and job creation. As for the provision of budget, Mr. Somai disclosed that the Department of Highways would be given 25 billion baht and the Department of Rural Roads 15 billion baht. The other half of the fund, which is expected to be paid out by the Government Savings Bank and the Bank for Agriculture and Agricultural Cooperatives, will be lent to the Village Fund at an interest rate of 5% per year. The Village Fund will then issue low-interest loans for local people as a way to stimulate spending and investments. The National Bureau of Agriculture, Commodity and Food Standards and the Office of Agricultural Affairs in Belgium have launched a joint study on the food trend of the European Union, or EU, in the next 5 years in a bid to boost the country's competitiveness in the EU food market. According to Agriculture and Cooperatives Minister Pitipong Phungbun Ayutthaya, the study will compile data on the European Union's economy, social characteristics, market demand, and trade, which might have a role in Thailand's food export. The study will focus on 9 types of agro-products with outstanding potential, such as fruit, vegetables, spices, frozen seafood, and meat. Mr. Pitipong explained that the ability to catch up with the EU's food trend and other competitors was vital to the survival of Thai food industry, as the EU, which boasted as many as 28 member nations and more than 500 million people, was the world's biggest importer of food and agro-products. The minister added that consumers in the EU nowadays had a tendency to be more health conscious, leading exporters and retailers to be more careful with the quality of their goods. The study will in addition look into other aspects which might affect the country's export to the EU market, particularly new trade laws and policies on organic food production, labeling, and packaging. The National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, has begun hearing the impeachment case of 38 former senators, allowing for the plaintiff and the defendants to present their opening statements. Mr. Wichai Wiwitsewi of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, presented the accusations to the Assembly, saying the 38 former senators had deliberately abused their power in their attempt to amend the previous charter on the section pertaining to senators' origins. Mr. Wichai affirmed that despite the revocation of the 2007 Constitution, the NACC has the authority to file impeachment motions against the defendants, as the NACC has clear evidence of their political misconduct. The defendants denied all the accusations while affirming that all procedures in the charter amendment attempt were conducted in accordance with the law. The trial will reconvene on the 5th of March when the inquiry committee will conduct its hearing. The Assembly will then vote on the 13th of March whether to impeach the senators. According to former Senator Grit Atitgao, who is facing charges for an attempt to amend the Senate origin bill, the process was lawful and in line with normal procedures for amendment. After the opening of impeachment cases against 38 former senators, Mr. Grit Atitgao, former Kamphaeng Phet senator, gave his statement before the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, denying all allegations against him. He said the accused cannot be impeached due to the fact that they were no longer in office. The former senator went on to say that the impeachment motion filed by the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, was unlawful, given that one of the names countersigning the motion was Mr. Pakdi Potisiri, who was not originally selected by members of the Senate to sit as NACC commissioner. Lastly, Mr. Grit affirmed the lawmakers that the amendment of the Senate origin bill was in accord with the normal procedure and protected by law. The Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, has completed the deliberation on how many members of the upper house will be in Parliament, as well as their election conditions under the new charter. The CDC, which continued the retreat in Pattaya on Wednesday, deliberated the part of the draft charter which is related to good political leadership. CDC spokesman General Ledrat Ratanawanit said that the deliberation has concluded that there will be no more than 200 senators after the new constitution is in effect. Out of this number, no more than 10 can be former Prime Minister, President of the Parliament, or President of the Supreme Court, while no more than 10 others can be former senior civil servants, armed forces leader, or employees of any state-owned enterprises or organizations. In addition, no more than 10 other future senators can come from any professional organizations, and up to 50 members of the upper house can represent various groups of interest. Lastly, no more than 100 people can be noted individuals or experts from various areas. General Ledrat said that under the new constitution, each senator's term in office will last 6 years, but none can stay in office for 2 consecutive terms. The Department of International Trade Promotion, or DITP, reported that exports last month contracted due to low prices of oil and agricultural products, as well as weakened markets in Japan, China, Europe, and the ASEAN region. DITP Deputy Director General Jantira Wiwatrat revealed that Thailand's exports fell by 3.46%, or $17.2 billion year on year. Meanwhile, imports decreased by 13.33%, or $17.7 billion. This created a trade deficit of $57 million. Ms. Jantira claimed that the falling exports were the result of declining oil prices worldwide, which affects dependent sectors such as chemical and plastics industries. Agricultural exports contracted by 13% due to a 40.6% decrease in rubber sales, followed by 13% in rice, 12.1% in seafood, and 9.7% in processed foods. The plummeting prices in raw rubber were attributed to an oversupply in global rubber stocks. Meanwhile, the industrial sector managed to expand by 0.6% due to exports in automobiles, auto parts and accessories, computers, jewelry, and refined metals. The Makabucha Day event will be held from February 26th to March 4th this year at Sanam Luang to commemorate this important event and raise awareness of the Buddhist principles among Thai people. The event will be hosted by the Office of the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, or BMA, the National Office of Buddhism, Mahachulalongkorn Ratchavityalai University, and Mahamongkut Buddhist University, as well as public and private sectors. The purpose of this event is to encourage Buddhists to be good and keep their minds and hearts free of negative thoughts. They are also urged to follow the sufficiency philosophy in honor of His Majesty the King's 87th birthday and Her Majesty Queen Sirikit's 82nd birthday anniversaries. Her Royal Highness Princess Somsawali will be presiding over the opening ceremony on February 26th at 1800 hours. Visitors to the event will have a chance to pay respect to the Buddha's relics and participate in various religious ceremonies. The almsgiving ceremony will be held on March 4th at 700 hours. On the same day, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha will lead the Wientian ritual at 1700 hours. Radio Thailand of the National Broadcasting Services of Thailand, or NBT, and the Public Relations Department, or PRD, held the 85th anniversary of Radio Thailand Day to honor Prince Burachat-Chayakorn, the Prince of Kamphaeng Phet, also known as the father of Thai radio. Radio Thailand has quickly become an important channel for communication in Thai society. It reports news, shares knowledge and new technologies that are able to efficiently reach residents nationwide. Radio Thailand not only raises the standard of living of Thais, but also plays a major role in developing the economy, society, politics, and stability of the country. Rachawan Subyam, the director of Radio Thailand, said the next step for Radio Thailand as part of the government's media is to focus on developing content for public health, emergency warnings, and the coming ASEAN Economic Community. These goals will serve to raise prosperity in Thailand. And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. We have much more for you, but first, here's a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The sixth core value, maintaining moral integrity, considerateness, generosity, and sharing.
Even if we don't see them, they are amongst us. And they're hungry. Slay your power-sucking monsters. Take their power away. Think when you plug.
NBT World, a 24-hour English language television service operated by the National News Bureau of Thailand, or NNT, is designed to bring the most reliable information about Thailand to the international community. NBT World is available on various platforms, including via C-band set-top boxes, GMMZ Channel 202, PSI channel 272, and a live stream on thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. You can also follow us on facebook.com/NNT News or download the PRD News EN application on your smartphones. NBT World, a vision of Thailand.
Welcome back to Newsline. Masot Miyawadi model is one of the Thai government strategies to reduce the complexity of trade practices by promoting connectivity in every dimension between the sister cities of Thailand and Myanmar. What does this model look like? Let's learn more about it from a report by Papaon Promlerth.
Masot Special Economic Zone has been selected by the Thai government as an experimental area for an innovative form of special economic zone management called Masot Miyawadi model. Masot district is the best choice for such a pilot project due to the strength of its geographic and economic position. The model then promises to facilitate and shorten all processes related to border trade between Tak in Thailand and Miyawadi in Myanmar, which are sister cities.
ตัวแบบโมเดลมันจะประกอบไปด้วยอะไรก็คือวันนี้1ออฟฟิศแล้วก็มีสถานที่ทำงานเป็นเขตเศรษฐกิจพิเศษมีตัวบุคคลแล้วก็วางตัวบุคคลที่ประจำคอยประสานงานต่างๆนานาเรื่องของข้อมูลนะครับข้อมูลการลงทุนข้อมูลการเชื่อมความสัมพันธ์มิตรประเพณีวัฒนธรรมต่างๆนานาตลอดจนเครื่องมือซึ่งตรงนี้มันก็จะเป็นตัวหนึ่งและโดยการขับเคลื่อนภาคราชการร่วมกับภาคองค์กรเอกชนโดยเฉพาะหอการค้าสภาอุตสาหกรรมและหน่วยงานอื่นๆอีกเยอะทีเดียวที่มาร่วมกัน
The model creates comprehensive connectivity through two main linkages. Firstly, the physical links. The model will lead to the construction of more public infrastructure, particularly transportation routes necessary for commodity transfers. The second Thai-Myanmar Friendship Bridge is an example of this linkage. Construction of the bridge started in January 2015. Secondly, the model creates an information sharing system in trade and investment among government agencies, private sector units, and the public, within Masot itself, as well as between Masot and Miyawadi. Accurate and advanced trading information will be managed by specialists through the mechanisms of the Directing Center of Masot Special Economic Development Zone in parallel with the Masot Miyawadi Center for Friendship and Sister Cities, officially launched in the same month. Located inside the center are all the branches of government agencies relevant to border trade and investment, gathered in one place and operating in the form of a one-stop service. These agencies are, for example, the Thai-Myanmar Border Coordinating Office, the National Economic and Social Development Board, and the Board of Investment. There are also working spaces for Tak and Miyawadi governors. Thus, everything can be done in one place and taking a shorter time with fewer processes. If the comprehensive connectivity is workable as expected, the model will be promoted at other special economic zones nationwide, starting with Mukdahan on the East-West Economic Corridor, which links Thailand with Laos, to Sa Kaeo and Trat, both of which share a common border with Cambodia, and Songkhla, which links Thailand with Malaysia. Papaon Promlerth, NBT World.
And that's a wrap for this edition of Newsline. If you have any comments or suggestions, you can email us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. It's also possible to follow us on Facebook by typing in NNT, and you can also check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. We're going to say goodbye today with some footage of beautiful sunflower fields in Buriram Province. For Newsline, I'm Sandra Hanut Saha. Have a great day. Sawadee ka.